Alright, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to Real Madrid Hub again. I'm your host, Dr. Jota, and in this video we'll be talking about PSG, finances, signings, Mbappe, and Real Madrid. Because according to the latest news I've just read like 5 minutes ago, there's an organism in France, there is an institution who allegedly controls the finances or the expenditure of the clubs in different, when they have to sign a player, when they have to sell players and all this stuff. So there is a mechanism to control the expenditures, the income, and all the stuff. And just in case for example, say that the clubs are overexpending in signings like PSG, for example, they say they raise the red flag and say, hey, you are spending a lot of money, so be careful, or sell players or give them on loan or do whatever you want, but you have to spend about, 100 million, and then you have to sell 100 million as well. So you have to balance a little bit the budget every time you want to go ahead and sign players and pay, super insane or high salaries or stuff like that. So that is the good news for Real Madrid, because there is another institution, because we cannot trust anymore in UEFA. Allegedly UEFA has to control the expenditures of the clubs in signings and all the stuff. But considering right now PSG is literally partnering with UEFA against La Superliga, the European Super League, we cannot trust anymore Los Madridistas in that UEFA will control the finances of PSG. So how in the world are you going to explain that you are signing a bunch of players like PSG is doing right now with Achraf Hakimi, Wijnaldum, Donnarumma? They are spending crazy money, and they also can sign to Sergio Ramos. And it's not only what you spend in the transfer fee, it's also what you have to spend in salaries every single year, right? So they will go beyond the limit, beyond the cap, and they will spend more than that, significantly higher than they are supposed to spend. You know what I'm saying? So think about it. Real Madrid has been appointed as the best club in the world to manage this financial crisis as a result of the pandemic, right? And Real Madrid management has been prized all around the world in different magazines of finances and all the stuff, right? And the core of the pay cuts and all the stuff, or better said, the secret has been just pretty much pay cuts and trying to cut expenses all over Real Madrid. That's why, or that is how Florentino Perez has been, catching up and keeping up the situation and all the stuff. Just cutting and cutting and cutting expenses out. That's it. But what we see with PSG is a club, is a super team, just spending all over in signings, salaries, and not selling a single player. And especially in a year when they have had losses for about 200 million euros, which is completely insane, right? So the point of this whole video is to share with you that if there is a reason for Florentino Perez to be happy, is because he knows, he's very aware of the financial situation of PSG. So he knows very good, much better than any other person in this planet, then PSG will have to sell, but not only the names they are, linking right here, like Sarabia, Ander Herrera, or even Mauro Icardi. No, you will have to sell to some of the big names. And when I say the big names, of course Neymar has renewed his contract, so it's got to be impossible. But Kylian Mbappe will be the first player they will have to get rid of if they want to keep going ahead and moving ahead and balance the budget. There's no other way. If you think about it, for example, the salary of Neymar is about 36 million euros. Now he had a pay cut, and now he's apparently making about 30 million euros or something like that, right? If you have to pay 30 million euros to Neymar, okay, before taxes, is because you have to spend 70 million euros for the player, because you have to pay the other 50% of the salary to the public administration. It's pretty much like in Spain, right? So it's insane money. It's about 70 million euros in the salary of just one player. If you keep Kylian Mbappe, and if you want to pay the crazy money they are rumoring that PSG wants to pay to Kylian Mbappe to stay in PSG, which is about 50 million euros before taxes, after taxes, that would be about 100 million euros total, because you have to pay an additional 50 million to the public administration. You know what I'm saying? For social security and all this stuff. So in just two players, you have to spend about 170 million euros, which is completely insane, right? So if they transfer to Kylian Mbappe, if they sell to Kylian Mbappe this year, they can obtain about 150 million euros, say 150, 120, or something like that. With that money, they can probably, do it okay and pay the rest of the salaries of the rest of the players. Problem is, how are you going to do that the rest of the years, the next years, the following years? Because you can only sell Mbappe just one time, just once. You know what I'm saying? You cannot sell Mbappe's every single year. So how in the world are you going to pay those crazy salaries? I mean, if they finally sign to Sergio Ramos, they will have to pay, because they are rumoring here that Sergio Ramos will make about 15 million euros a year, which is about 30 million euros for PSG. So 70 million euros for Neymar, 30 million euros for Sergio Ramos, and then players like Wijnaldum, Ashraf, Donnarumma, Keylor Navas, players that are making easily beyond 80 million euros. I mean, it's not sustainable at all. It is impossible. And Florentino Perez knows that very well. I mean, nobody's going to tell Florentino Perez what is going to happen with PSG, and especially in a year where they have lost about 200 million euros. It is impossible for them not to sell Kylian Mbappe, or not even consider the sale of Kylian Mbappe. It's almost impossible. So that is why it's pretty good news for Real Madrid. And this institution in France, which has to control and alert to the teams that they are spending or overspending in signings and salaries and all this stuff, they will be there to raise the flags and say, hey, you are spending too much. Now you have to cut, you have to stop, you have to sell players or give them a loan or do something, man, because you are, overcoming all the limits. I mean, you are pushing the limits beyond what is, pretty much sustainable. You know what I'm saying? So that's why this is very good news. And of course, it's not fair enough that there is a team in Europe overspending while the rest of the teams struggle with the finances. And that is the other reason why I promote the European Super League, because it's the only way for the regular clubs to have controls and test for the finances and fair financial play. You know what I'm saying? So that is the point. It's not only about Kylian Mbappe. It's not only about PSG or Real Madrid or whatever. It's about how the clubs manage the finances. And it's pretty unsustainable to have all these clubs like Manchester City, Chelsea, and PSG overspending in players, whereas all the teams, traditional teams like Real Madrid, FC Barcelona, and other teams struggle every time they want to sign another player. And the future is going to be worse, because PSG has on their side two people from UEFA. So that is not fair for Los Madridistas. It's not fair for Real Madrid. And it's not fair for soccer. It's not good, actually. So, I mean, the point here of this whole video is to say that this is good news for Real Madrid, because, I mean, whatever they want, whatever PSG want to do with Kylian Mbappe, they won't have any other choice other than to sell Kylian Mbappe, because they cannot afford to lose this player the next year for free. They cannot afford it. You know what I'm saying? That would be crazy. That would be a suicide for them. So now let me know your thoughts about that. Just comment in the section below, and of course subscribe my channel, Real Madrid Hub.